talk about a monster nightmare. Hello, folks. Welcome back to Horror Channel. This is your friendly neighborhood Goosebumps boy, and today I'm going to be reviewing the book called I Live in Your Basement. I Live in Your Basement, indeed. Number 61 from OG 62. Wow, the front cover is so good. I gotta say that when I first saw this front cover, I was like, wow, this book looks really good, really scary. Basically, it's taking place in some basement, and you have basically their stairway. You have a bulb, a light bulb hanging down from the ceiling, and you have some yellow light, kind of pouring out into this very dark basement. Basically, pretty much everything looks dark blue. The stairs, there are some cobwebs here and there. It looks so dark, and on the foreground of this front cover, you basically have some kind of a monster, and the monster looks really like gross, and it sounds like it's melting or something. Basically, its mouth is open wide, and you have the tongue sticking out, a forky tongue, a fork-like tongue kind of thing, and there's some saliva dropping down from the palate of this monster, and it's all orange and yellow, and it looks absolutely gross with those two blue eyes. Just look at this front cover. It definitely reflects the book that is gross indeed. But basically, you also have a washing machine in there. I don't know if you can hear mine in the background. I like that because it kind of sets the mood for this review. But yeah, the washing machine in my house is actually it's working as we speak. Uh, and it's washing some clothes that we have in here. But basically, yeah, that looks pretty good. And basically, this front cover, this monster on the front cover, looks like it's melting, it's being destroyed, it's dying, it seems, and it's lying there on the floor. The floorboards are there. They're kind of yellow and brown. And it looks really good. Like this front cover, the colors, they're close, the green and red clothes that are there in the washing machine. It looks also good, basically. And I believe that's some kind of a washing machine and a washer kind of thing. It looks so good. And this basement looks really cluttered. You have a broom, if I'm not mistaken. You have some other things. But yeah, enough said about the front cover. It looks really good. So now I've decided to read the summary before talking about what happens in the book. Because I would rather read the summary before I actually talk about what happens in the book, so that actually gives me an idea about what I'm going to speak about. So I'm going to be reading the summary right now without further ado. So let's read it right now. He's got the basement blues. Don't do this. Watch out for that. Marco's mom thinks the whole world is a danger zone. She won't even let Marco play softball, but Marco wants to have fun. She sneaks off to a game. That's when I'm so sorry about this. I keep messing up the lines and everything. I'm going to try to redo this without, messing up too much anything. I just went a little bit overboard in there, but let me retry this once more. Let me retry this. He's got the basement blues. Don't do this. Watch out for that. Marco's mom thinks the whole world is a danger zone. She won't even let Marco play softball. But Marco wants to have fun, so he sneaks off to a game, and that's when it happens. He gets hit in the head with a baseball bat. Now things are getting really fuzzy, really scary, because when Marco gets home, he gets the strangest call from someone who says he lives in Marco's basement. Ooh, that looks so scary, right? So this is basically how it happens. I let you know, I read to you the summary, so this is basically more or less what happens, but let me tell you, like, more in detail what happens in my own words, so that I can basically try to do a better job at explaining what happens in this book. So let's get into it right now, shall we? So basically, Marco is a young kid. He's our main character in this book. He's young, like any Goosebumps character. He goes to school and so on. And basically, his mother's overprotective. Like, she always tries to kind of shield him from the outside world. She doesn't want him to do anything. It's pretty much annoying. She's like, don't sharpen your pencil, or you'll poke your eye out or something like this. You'll gouge your eye out. You'll hurt yourself. Don't make faces, or your face will stay stuck like this forever. Don't don't do this, don't do that. She's so annoying, to be honest with you. Like that's one of these parents who are just one of those parents. They're just so protective. And I get it, you gotta be protective of your children if you're a parent, but come on, that's too much in my opinion. This is just overboard and kind of annoying, and a little too much. Yeah, it's crazy, right? So I don't really. It's kind of funny at the beginning to have a mother like this. So she won't let her son do pretty much anything because she's convinced that anything he might do might cost him his life for some reason. So she's like, don't do this, don't do that, stay home, stay safe, all that. And basically, Marco, he's gonna go play. He's gonna manage to sneak to a softball diamond, so that he can play with his friends. And basically, what happens there is pretty bad. Like like a huge big accident that takes place, and basically Marco is hit in the head by someone named Gwenny Evans, who wanted to practice swinging, and basically she mistakenly bashed Marco's head in. I gotta be honest with you, that's one of the worst scenes in a Goosebumps book. Like, it's so wow. The way it's described is so amazing. Like, you feel the pain for the kid. You feel the pain for Marco, even though you're not Marco, but you can feel his pain, right? It's like the pain, exploded in his head. At first he didn't feel a thing, but the way it's described is so good, in my opinion, right? So basically, yeah, that's what happens. And then not just that, Marco, so he falls asleep. Sorry, he falls unconscious. Actually, it's kind of like he's in a coma, to be honest with you. And then he wakes up at his house, and his mom is crying. And it looks really bad because now she has a good reason to not to be even more protective, if that makes any sense. That's not good. And basically, she's nursing him back to health. He has bandages around his head because he's hurt. He was injured badly, and he's in pain, so he needs some time to rest. And basically, as she's taking care of him, and she's telling him to get plenty of rest, so he has to sleep a lot. And what happens is that he's gonna get a phone call. The phone is gonna ring, so he's gonna pick up, and the person who's on the other end of the line, is someone named Keith, and he's talking really like in such a scary way. He's like, "My name is Keith. I live in your basement." That is so scary, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know about you. I just finished watching Michael's review for this book. It was awesome. I really loved it. But yeah, that would freak me out. Could you imagine being in a house, living in a house, and somebody claims they're living there with you, even though you don't know, even though you couldn't see them? That would creep me out bad. But yeah, basically, he's convinced that someone is living in his basement, and he's trying not to be seen, but he's kind of harassing Marco in the meantime. So that's pretty scary and terrifying, actually. Then Marco is gonna fall asleep soon, and then he's gonna be convinced that maybe he just had a dream. But then there's gonna be some other phone calls, if I'm not mistaken, and those are those are basically those old phones in which back in the 90s you could pick up any phone in the house. Nowadays, it's not really the case anymore, but yeah, that used to be the case back then. But yeah, basically after that, Marco is gonna be visited the next day by one of his friends named Jeremy, and basically they're gonna be spending some time together and playing a little bit. But then he's gonna leave. I don't really remember what happens. Maybe they talk a little bit about what happened about Gwenny, but then basically Marco is gonna think that he's hearing Keith's voice again from uh from the basement, and then he's gonna go and try to catch a glimpse of whatever's happening in the basement, and he's gonna see his mother working there in the basement, and he's gonna warn her that she's in danger, but she's not gonna believe him, obviously. Then on the next day, he's gonna go back to school, and basically, Marco's teacher is gonna basically let the others know about him and his head injury, and that people should be good to him. But basically, soon afterwards, there's gonna be a scene involving Gwenny, and she's gonna be kind of chasing him with a baseball bat. It's kind of funny and terrifying at the same time, so he has to make a run for it, run back to his house as fast as he can. That was hilarious, in my opinion. But then basically, what happens is that he's visited by a doctor because he keeps talking about Keith, and his mother thinks that he's just losing it, so he needs to see a doctor. So they're sending Dr. Bailey, and they go to Dr. Bailey's office, and then he tells him that all he needs is to go back home to get some rest. I'm not sure. I believe that he talks a little bit about Keith, and he's like, okay, this kid needs to rest, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then Marco is gonna be typing out an essay for school, and what happens is that Gwen is gonna visit him, and to cut a long story short, something is gonna happen in the basement, and that's so gross. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but that is gross. And then soon afterwards, there's gonna be some kind of a shift. I'll leave you with that. I'm not gonna tell you what kind of a shift it is, but basically, it kind of I was dumbfounded in there because I didn't see that coming. But basically, yeah, there's that big kind of shift, kind of change in the story, and I just didn't see that one coming. And then basically, Marco, he's still gonna be Marco and Gwenny are still gonna be like pretty much the center of the story, the main thing about the story. And basically, Marco is still after Dr. Bailey, and the hospital is keeping him for observation, for him to be basically, nursed back to health. He's gonna get some kind of a letter, and yeah, this is basically it. And then what happens is, as he's home, he's gonna finally, he's gonna finally know what this whole Keith thing was all about, and who is Keith, and what happens, and what happened, why everything happened the way it did. Then a fighting is gonna ensue, more or less, and some really gross scenes in there, some really gross visuals, to be honest with you. And then basically, yeah, there's gonna be the final twist of the story. I gotta be honest with you, I didn't see that one coming at all. It actually shocked me a little bit. I didn't see that one coming. I don't know about you, but yeah, basically, that's pretty much it. How we get to know everything is gonna make sense near the end, but it's not exactly what I had in mind. So I gotta be honest with you. That was how that's what I thought about this book. So I thought that the ending of this book, I'm kind of all over the place for some reason. The final twist, I gotta see. I didn't see it coming. I gotta say, but it was pretty good in my opinion. It really ended in a scary way, but at the same time, kind of a funny twist. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I Live in Your Basement, number 61 from Goosebumps, is a pretty good book. And I definitely recommend it to anyone who like Goosebumps, who'd like, some more scary Goosebumps book. Like we are nearing Series 2000, so Series 2000 right around the corner, 2 books after this one, and this one definitely, it's gross, man. I mean, it's so, I gotta be honest with you, it has some of the, the, the most graphic things you could ever see in a Goosebumps book. So if you have children and they'd like to read this book, I would definitely not recommend it until they're at least 13 years old, at least, because that's scary. That scares me, and I'm older, and yet it terrifies me. Really, like the scenes are so gross. So the visuals, man, it's so graphic. It gets so terrifying. I'm not even. I don't even feel like telling you what it's about because just speaking about it would make me sick, man. I'm gonna throw out my breakfast now. No, really, seriously, this book is wild, man. It's so amazing that Stein just went all out on this one, man. It's so scary. I mean, I didn't see that one coming. Such a scary and such scary twists. But apart from that, yeah, there are some dream sequences in this book. I'll leave you with that. Some dream sequences. I'm not gonna detail anything further than that, more than that, because I don't want to spoil the book or anything. But the whole concept of the book worked pretty well, in my opinion. Key, this guy who might or might not exist. He might or might not exist. I'll put it like that. It was really good in my opinion. It made a lot of sense, and it's scary at the beginning. Now the only thing I kind of was a little bit, I was a little bit disappointed. It's the whole shift. Halfway through the book, I kind of wish it stayed the way it was at the beginning. And I'm using the word shift because I don't want to spoil or anything. But those who have read it know what I'm talking about. There's that big shift halfway through the book. I gotta be honest with you, I would have loved it so much better if it just remained the way it started. It would have been awesome. But apart from that, it was pretty good. Marco was a nice character. Gwynny as the bully slash, dangerous girl. Dangerous girl. She's kind of good. Marco's mother, she's just okay. Kind of get it. She's overprotective. And I'm not sure there's a dad in the picture in this book, but yeah, that's pretty much why she's compensating for not having a father figure for Marco. But yeah, pretty much everything makes sense in this book. I really liked it. I thought it was nice. It's a nice book. And it plays well. It plays out well. I know that it's some of people's favorites, and I definitely understand why. It was a nice read, to be honest with you. It was a nice read. Maybe it doesn't make sense at the beginning when you first read it, but then when you look back and you'll feel like, yeah, that was good. That was a nice book. It did well. It did well. So if I were to give this book a rating, I say I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10 for me. It was a nice book, not my favorite Goosebumps book, but I liked it, and it's gross, and the whole monster thing, because there's a monster thing, in case you're wondering. The front cover, yeah, it is in the book, thankfully, more or less, and it makes sense. So yeah, I gotta be honest with you. It's a nice book cover. It's a nice story. It's pretty much everything is good in this book. I would say that's a nice one that you should definitely check out if you haven't read it in the past and you've heard a lot about it and you would like to give it a shot. Well, go ahead and read it. I Live in Your Basement. So what about those who have read it, folks? Let me know in the comment section down below. Did you like I Live in Your Basement? Did you hate I Live in Your Basement? Please let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear to hear your thoughts on it. And I'll see you on the next review. I hope for the very last Goosebumps book from OG 62, Monster Blood 4. Wow, I can't believe it. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. Take care. This is whole channel for you signing off.